And if you stuck with this, welcome to part 2 of the Up and Running Pod. We are going to get into, we got a lot of college football under our belt in part 1, and now we're in part 2. We are getting to the New York Yankees are back in the World Series, back since 2009, playing the Dodgers. You got Ohtani versus Judge. Soto's been on fire. This is going to be an outstanding World Series. So ESPN put out an article about the most hyped World Series in the past 25 years. This got ranked 3rd as far as most hyped, right behind Matt's beloved Guardians, losing to the Cubs, and then also your Red Sox when they came back in 2004 and beat the Yankees in the ALCS after being down 0-3, and then swept the Cardinals in a 4-0 sweep of the World Series to win their first title since, I don't know, baseball was invented probably at that point. You guys only probably have like 2, I think, in your whole franchise. It's sad. But as the Yankees have 27 going for 28, we will start off with Game 1, Garrett Cole versus Jack Flaherty, Dodgers midseason acquisition. I can tell you this. I am thrilled for this World Series, Justin. I cannot wait for this World Series. Haven't gotten a chance to watch the Yankees in the World Series since 2009, and I am thrilled to watch them. But I can tell you this. I think the Yankees pitching is better than the Dodgers pitching, but I think the Dodgers have a better lineup. And so it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I think our bullpen is better. The Dodgers bullpen is better than their starters, that's for sure. That's why you'll see them throw a bullpen game. But I will tell you this, bold right out the gates, not because I'm a homer, but I think Aaron Boone is a better in-game manager than Dave Roberts. So Dave Roberts will give us a game, at least one of the 7.
Yeah, I can't necessarily agree with you there. I don't think in that statement. Coaches get to the World Series, they pretty much got it figured out. The only way he gives you one is if he makes a bad pitching change, which
he's been known to do.
If anybody has watched the Dodgers play this postseason and even this season, they have had to go to the bullpen on multiple accounts for starting pitching. Not at the 4th inning. In any one, they've started somebody out of the bullpen and had a bullpen game. In the LCS, they did this when they played the Mets. It's going to be tough for the Dodgers. I agree with you that the pitching matchup doesn't work out well. We've talked about this. If they go 6, if they go 7, I'd almost put 100% they're going to throw Ohtani.
I agree.
I think if it comes down to it, he says he's good to go, he's going to go. Listen, we all know Mike wants it to be a 4-0 Yankee sweep. Go ahead.
No, he's also going to, I think, work himself into that game because I can tell you, he's a guy that's a competitor. He said he wanted to be. He's relished being in the postseason. He wants to be there. The Yankee, you got to keep in mind, this is not the Yankees that everybody wants to talk about. We bought them. The Yankees are in the World Series again. We bought our team, blah, blah. A lot of guys in this Yankee team have never been in the World Series, have not been on a team that was there in 2009.
I would just say most all of them haven't been in the World Series.
And so, Soto's got a ring, right? He won a ring as a rookie as a national. Stanton hasn't been there, and Stanton's really eager to get a ring. Judge has not been there.
But they've never been there in a Yankee uniform, and you and I both know that's a whole different ballgame.
Of course, big lights get brighter, right? We talk about that. And no bigger lights than the Dodgers-Yankees World Series. A rare feat of both 1 seeds actually making it to the World Series, which is another rare feat. So a lot of things on the line for this World Series. It is going to be a dogfight, I do believe. Of course, I'm rooting for a Yankee sweep, but I don't realistically think that's even remotely possible.
No, I think it's definitely going 7. I think it's going to be an offensive, just haymakers. I'll tell you what it's going to be like, and I know I can reference this as a winner, but if you go back to 2004 when the Red Sox came back from being down 3-0 and you had 13-11 games and 9-8 games, and you had the one game where they popped off 16 to 4. Yeah. But you're going to have fireworks. We talked about it earlier today. I said, I'm excited for the offense. I'll be highly disappointed if I have to watch 5-3-1 games.
No, I don't think you will. The pitching's not that good.
Every game to have double digits.
So I don't think you mean combined double digits? Sure. But you're not going to have both teams.
Yeah. Every game to have double-digit runs scored total.
I mean, listen, if you're out there looking for a betting angle, I think you take the over in just about every line that you're given, I think, at this point, because the pitching is not that good. as far as dominant World Series pitching that we used to seeing. Josh Beckett throwing a 5-hit shutout against the Yankees in 09. Not in 09. In 09 when we lost. When we lost to the Marlins. I'm sorry, in 03. No, not 03. 03, yeah. 03 we lost to the Marlins. Yes.
97 and 03 with the Marlins World Series.
Yeah, when we lost to the 03 Marlins, Josh Beckett threw a 5-hit shutout and we got dominated. You're not going to see Madison Bumgarner throw a 2-hit shutout and then turn around 2 games later and throw 3 to 5 innings of scoreless baseball
in one of those games.
Hit a home run in one of those games. You're not going to see that from a pitcher in this World Series. The best you're going to see, I think, is Cole go in Game 1, 7 innings, a 4-hit, 1-run ball, and that's going to be the best, the dominant, pitching you're going to see. I think a lot of these games are going to be a 6-2, 7-3 type of score where one team just gets hot and rolls and the other team tries to play catch up. You will see a 10-9, 11-8 type of game. I think you're going to see a blowout game for sure. But it's going to be a lot of, I don't think there's going to be a lot of save opportunities. It is kind of what I was getting at. You're not going to have a lot of close games. You're going to have some games get close during the game and then get routed as far as if we get into late game innings. But I think it's going to be an offensive show. I would take the over on every single run line. And I can tell you it's going to be an electric World Series to watch. If we get a couple games that are 1-0 ball games, I will be very surprised.
Well, I'm not going to be upset. Like if it's truly a pitcher's duel, if we're talking about Garrett Cole and Flaherty go 105 pitches each, and it's a 1-0 ball game.
Sure,
that's
gonna be good
fine
baseball,
with me. Sure, because you've just shut down the best hitters in the league. Like you said, it's a 3v3 show right now, and on their lineups. If everybody's healthy, Freeman's healthy, and I mean even Rizzo's fingers are getting better for the Yankees, but you got both markets. And I don't mean this as salaries, but it's money, right? L.A., all the money in the world. New York, all the money in the world as far as just towns, like cities that you live in. You got the best players, the most exciting baseball we've seen, offensive-wise. And back to the money statement, tickets, $1,200 for standing room only in New York for Game 3.
Insane.
Absolutely crazy.
Insane.
But the craziest thing is a starting pitcher for the Yankees was in Yankee Stadium with the Yankees hat on as a kid. This is what makes you love baseball. Not only was Garrett Cole wearing a Yankees hat as a kid, Flaherty was wearing a Dodgers uniform as a kid. And that's why you love baseball.
Both Southern California guys, actually. Both SoCal guys. Anthony Volpe was also in the stadium as a fan in a Yankee hat. So starting shortstop for the Yankees. It's going to be an absolute electric World Series. I want to get your thoughts later when we wrap this up of who you think the MVP, if the Dodgers win, and who you think the MVP will be if the Yankees win. We'll get to that a little bit later. But from someone who's doesn't have a team in this World Series, doesn't have a dogfight in here. What's your take on this World Series? How do you see this unfolding? I know you said it's going to be probably a mash fest, and we're going to have a ton of runs. But how do you see this unfolding?
Well, and I say that it doesn't. I don't care about the hitting. Like the offense isn't going to affect this game at all. And people say, "Well, how can you say that?" No, it's just not, because what you're looking at is one team has fixed a problem they had in the years past, the last few years, pitching the New York Yankees.
Sure.
One team
Fair point.
has its 2 best pitchers out. Ohtani's out and Kershaw's out. And there's some debate if Kershaw's number 1 or 2 for them. With Ohtani, he's definitely not number 1. But the Dodgers pitching's going to determine if the Yankees are going to win, if they win in 5 or 6. I think if it goes 7, they're going to have a little bit of an issue because obviously the Dodger pitching has gotten them through. But the fact that Roberts might have to call upon the bullpen to start a game in a World Series. Tony La Russa said today, he was asked this question, it might be the first time it's ever happened in the regular season.
The Rays did it. The Rays did it in the World Series, which was a shocker because it came up to be they were going to throw a bullpen game. And so but it's very rare because I was thinking about the same thing.
Well, you see how it worked out for them.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's hard for a team to do that and win because essentially, listen, I don't care. You don't have 9 Mariano Rivera's that will shut them down for 9 innings. And unless you're hot, unless you know your bats are going to go get you 7-8 runs, a bullpen game for the Yankees to get through the first 5 batters, nope.
No chance.
I don't trust
No chance.
anybody.
I agree with you. I would be very shocked if that happens. So I actually think we win game 1, we lose game 2. I think we split in LA. And then we get to Yankee Stadium. I think we win 2 out of 3. So I think that we are headed to LA for game 6 up 3-2. And we've got to win one of those 2 when we get there. And I think that's how it looks.
6. I don't think you can hope to get to 7.
I think a Yankees win is a 4-2 Yankees win, and I think if a Dodgers win it, it's a 4-3 Dodgers win. I would agree wholeheartedly there. I'm going to go on record and say we win game 1, we lose game 2, we lose game 3, and I think we win 4 and 5, and then I want to say we win 3 straight and win game 6, but I really think that there's a dogfight we have in 7. And if we come out in 7, we win it. But I think the Yankees got to win it in 6 or 7. I think the Dodgers, only way they can win it is if they win it in 7. I don't think the Dodgers can sweep us. I don't think it's going to be a 4-1 Dodgers. I do think the Yankees win in 6, and I think we win. We go down 2-1 and we win 3 straight and win it 4-2.
So I can tell you now, I have it written down. I have what you want, 4-0, Mike. And then I wrote down I like 7. And I like 7 because I think offensively they are super competitive with each other. But here's where I'm going to tell you, here's the deciding factor of how this series goes. If the Yankees win game 1, it can go 5, 6, or 7. If you lose game 1, it's only going 4 or 5.
No, you're crazy.
I'm telling you, if the
That's
Dodgers
the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
If the Dodgers get the advantage, if the Dodgers win game 1, now, the reason I say that is because
then you're looking at this team. We got a lot of fight in this Yankee team.
I understand that, but I'm saying if you don't get game 1, it's 4 or 5, and here's why: because then Flaherty knows he can win. He's going to pitch on short rest in game 4 or game 3, maybe game 4, and you don't have the bullpen game that you think you're going to have. But if they lose game 1, they're not going to throw him on short rest. He needs his rest. So then the Yankees get game 1. I think they lose game 2, get game 3, get game 4, lose 5 and 6, or lose 5, and then we figured out 6 and 7 in LA.
Okay,
but I don't think the Yankees close it in New York. I think the series comes back. If the Yankees going to win, they've got to play in LA the second go.
No matter what, the winner is crowned in LA. I agree. I think it goes 6 or 7. I don't think anyone wins in 5. I think it goes 6 or 7. For those listeners that are curious, I am not going to the World Series. I'm not going to any of the games. Justin brought up the ticket prices are outrageous. Standing room rolling for $1,200. It's absurd. We've talked about how big money has gotten, how big prices have gotten to go to sporting events. The father-son going to a baseball game thing is outrageous to even consider that happening anymore. So, no, I will be watching them from my living room. I am thrilled to watch the Yankees. Got the hat on tonight. Let's go. Let's get these pinstripes. Another ring, first since 2009. I am ready. Justin, hit me with, and I'll save mine. If the Dodgers win, who's your MVP of the series?
Oh, I mean, everybody wants the easy pick, right? Shohei Ohtani. I just don't think. I just don't think he's done enough this postseason anyway. Gosh, it's very tough because the other 2 parts of the 3 can get hard, it done.
Right? You got Mookie, you got Freddie. Could Jack Flaherty come out as a pitcher and be the MVP? You don't know. Tommy Edmonds, a recent addition, who's had a decent postseason for them.
I think if a pitcher gets 2 wins, they get it. I think if they don't, I think Mookie Betts can get it. It really, I mean, it's going to be. Listen, a pitcher comes out and gets 2 wins, it's got to be them.
Sure.
If Shohei Ohtani comes out and pitches in Game 7, it's him, and they win. If not, it's going to be the best offense from Freeman, Betts, or Ohtani. And I think as much as I hate saying this because even in the Super Bowl, it's not like this, but I just think everybody, and myself included, man, I'll tell you now, I am already looking at tickets for the Dodgers in Baltimore or the Dodgers in Washington next year so I can see this guy play. But at the end of the day, I think everybody is in a love fest who loves baseball with what we're watching out of Ohtani,
Sure.
even as a DH this season. That it doesn't, I mean, if he goes over, okay, one thing, but I think he's going to bat somewhere in 275, 300 range. I think him and Judge have woken up. Um, Judge needs to
Judge
do,
needs to. Judge needs
Judge
to.
really needs to have a great World Series, but I think Otani's going to get it just because one of what he's done. And if he has, let's say, if he has a home run, David Ortiz style, even though he's a lot better than him, if he has a home run to win a game, or has multiple games where his runs were the winning runs, they might win 10-3, but his was the fourth run in, he's getting the MVP.
Sure. Yeah, so
It's
I
really
think,
tough to vote against that.
Otani's my Dodgers pick, Dodgers MVP pick if they win, because I think he's got to be the key to beat us. I do think he's going to have a field day with Garrett Cole. I think Cole's going to struggle against Ohtani. So I think Ohtani is going to have a actual big series against the Garrett Cole games. I think that just whatever that style is, I think Ohtani's going to hit well against them. But the Dodgers win, Ohtani's my pick. If the Yankees win, I'm going to go first on this one. If the Yankees win and we win the World Series, I think the key is going to be Juan Soto. I think he has been electric for this team. He does bat in front of Judge, which people can argue it makes him a better, gets better pitches, or he may be a better, hitter when it comes to that. He can swing more freely, whatever. I disagree with that. I actually think he's just a good, talented player. I think he's grown up a ton from when he was with the Nationals, because if the group chat guys are quick to remind me that I did not like Juan Soto, I didn't like the trade for Juan Soto, and I still, at that time, did not, because who he was on the Nationals team was a lot more of a little more immaturity. He does a lot more dancing and moving in the box and doing a lot of things. I think he's matured a little bit. He's still got that swagger about him, but now it's a swagger, not an immaturity. I think he's also backed it up for a lot of years, and now he's got that I've been there, done that, I'm one of the best players in baseball type of mentalities, and he's shown that with his stats. I'm not saying that gives him the right to be a prick. I don't think he's been one, but I think in the Nationals he wasn't as mature as he was. But again, I think if we do win the World Series, I think Soto is my MVP vote. I think he has a monster series, continues it from what he did to the Guardians, and I think he attacks that Dodger bullpen. And Soto is your MVP. Yankees in 6. Let's go Yankees.
Yeah, so I have no disagreements there. Juan Soto has been on a tear this postseason, this year. We did talk about something earlier that I know we wanted to close out on the MVPs. I agree. I think Ohtani and Soto are the two favorites. I mean, they're the betting favorites in it, but I definitely think if we look at the big three, LA's big three, the bets, Mookie Betts, Ohtani, and Freeman, versus the Yankees, Soto, Judge, and Stanton. Freeman, out of those 6, is probably the biggest wild card. You don't know what you're getting out of him. Dealing with all the stuff he's dealt with this season, emotionally, physically, things like that.
Sure.
And to be honest, and a lot of Yankee fans that I converse with don't like this statement, but it's just fact. And yeah, can be a little bit of hate in there when I'm joking around or whatever. But the fact is, Aaron Judge hasn't shown up in these playoffs.
No, he hasn't.
A way that says, a Yankee fan yourself has said, you're not Mr. October or November yet. You're not even sniffing them boys' drawers. And I think the thing is Ohtani had that stretch with the Dodgers. He's woken up. Judge woke up last series a little bit. He's got to keep it going. But if you look at anybody that could win, regardless, just a lead favorite for the MVP out of those 6, Juan Soto is lights out right now.
Sure.
I mean, I'm telling you right now, had it not been for Judge having such a great season, I mean, you have 2 MVPs on the same team.
Sure.
Yeah. But I wanted those 6. Those 6 are going to be.
It's
amazing.
A 3v3. It really is. It's a big 3 versus a big 3. It's going to be a great series. Tune in. We've got a lot of sports coming at you for sure. Justin and I wanted to do a mid-season kind of recap of college football. Finally got us back together. We want to touch on that. We got a lot of World Series coverage coming. We're going to have a show next week where we're going to be in the middle of the World Series, and we'll be able to talk about that. But again,
should be
next
Game
week,
4 Tuesday. Game 3 Monday night. Yeah. Game 4 Tuesday night.
Yeah, we should have something to talk about when it comes to the World Series. We got a couple more.
Might be over.
Yeah, it's not going to be over easy. We're going to have some whip around coverage for you, that's for sure. coming right now. So we appreciate you guys hanging on with us again. Up and Running Pod. Follow us at X Bama Turk. My handle's on there as well. I'm Squared 11. So check us out on X at Up and Running Pod. Again, we talked a lot of World Series. Go Yankees. Let us know what your picks are. Let us know what you think the MVP is going to be, who you got winning it, and we'll be excited to interact with you all when it comes to that. So, Justin, we're kind of moving on to whip around coverage. We're going to save our 2 ovals for the last. We're not going to touch on too much of horse racing, and I'll give you the reason why at the end of the show. But you wanted to bring up something with the WNBA champions. I see the Liberty got by in a decisive Game 5. What do we got there?
But man, it's a lot of bad going on in the WNBA as far as I hate saying this. Listen, but at the end of the day, it's the WNBA. It's not a sport I've watched. It's not a sport I'm really going to watch. I pay attention to it. I like to know what's going on, just like
one of our
everything.
listeners is a big WNBA fan, that's for sure. Shout out to Hazel.
That's great. But what you saw happen to the Minnesota Lynx is what's wrong with the WNBA.
Sure. We talked about bad calls throwing the flag in the Georgia game. I mean, it's the same thing as a bad whistle.
Yeah, it's a bad whistle at a bad time. You got to know your spots. Listen, and I've had referees say if it's a foul in the first minute, it's a foul in the last minute. And I fully understand that. But it better be a foul. And if you're going to blow the whistle, tell me so I can get every bit of it I can get. Because what I saw was not a foul. Anyway, the Liberty end up winning Game 5. They win the WNBA championship with a whopping 2.15 million viewers. The highest since 1999. Let me tell you something. The highest since 1999, and their star player wasn't in the game. So for all the players that beat up on Clark, that were all upset, just know she brought the most viewers she's had since 99. And imagine what's going to happen when she's in it.
I can't wait for the Nike commercial that just has her with her arms in and just says "You're welcome." Honestly,
exactly. Listen. The WNBA players, we talked about this earlier on the phone. The CBA they had a chance to opt out. They opted out. They're going to get more money. The WNBA
strike where the iron's hot. Strike where the iron's hot. Because I got no problem with that.
They're doing exactly what cornhole did and pickleball is doing now. Everybody's interested. It's a sport everybody can play.
Sure. Why not?
Let's get all the money we can, and we'll be on ESPN. They're already there. Now they're trying to get millions because, their salaries don't pay their bills, if you ask Angel Reese. Well, they stop living so luxuriously.
Living beyond your means, it is what it is.
I think that it can be a great sport, a great game. Glad it's there. But I am sick of people trying to make it more than what it is. It is a women's league that without the Caitlin Clark effect had 0 viewers because the second she got knocked out, the viewership went down. And listen, Mike said it. We were talking pre-show. He went over the show thing. The page that I sent out to him, we were talking about it. And he was like, I said, going up against the NFL, the dumbest move you can make. And he said, somebody's got to do it. This ain't them. They're not them. They don't need to be competing with anybody, not even Sunday PGA Tour golf in San Juan or Mexico, wherever the third-rate players play. The WNBA needs to compete against a silence contest or rewatching videos of the atomic bomb in science class. The only way that any human is changing from the NFL on Sunday afternoon is if there's a blackout and ESPN is the only channel. It just isn't happening.
No, it's not. It's not happening. I agree there.
Mike spoke about whip around, so we're going to jump, okay? But I'm going to bring a point back. Here's just want to go to the NHL. Tuesday night.
Talking about viewership, NHL Frenzy Tuesday.
All the NHL teams played yesterday from 6 o'clock till past midnight on the West Coast, and you could watch them all.
Yep.
Every 15 minutes after 6 o'clock, a puck dropped. Do you know how exciting that is for a league that has
very smart marketing? Brilliant.
The most genius sport to watch, the most physical sport to watch that everybody loves. It's tough to afford because the arenas don't hold enough people, but people love watching it. And so what do? They gave it all to us in a 6-hour period. The WNBA is competing with the NFL. They need to take hints from the NHL. They need to understand, look, the NHL is what the WNBA is going to be. The NHL
It's a niche
doesn't
sport.
have the money. Right.
Sure. It's a niche sport where, like, if you're a WNBA fan, you're going to watch it no matter what. If you're an NHL fan, you're going to watch it no matter what. But where the NHL made their smart move was doing this frenzy, hyping up. You can watch any team across the country on this day. Puck's going to drop every 15 minutes. And for the guys that want to, play some wagers on it, you can do that. Again, I agree with you. If you're an NHL fan, you're going to watch it no matter what. But the casual fan might have turned in yesterday because of this hype.
Yeah, and the thing is the NHL is one of the big four. They're not a subpar league to the men's division. They're an actual big four and have to do things like this. And they're smart. You know when they didn't do it? On Monday Night Football. They did it on a Tuesday night, which is MACtion night for college football fans, and nothing else.
Hey, don't hate on the MAC. Marshall used to be in the MAC.
Hey, not hating on the MAC, just saying.
I know, I get it.
One or two games on Tuesday night, but you put the whole slate. Listen.
Got to take some hint from the NHL for sure. Hey, and like golf, we've talked about golf for a little bit. Golf's had some viewership problems. We're going to do a big golf segment next show because there's a big thing that's happening in December that we want to hype up that Justin and I want to spend some time on. Finally, the LIV versus PGA match. We've got some more details coming out, so stay tuned next week for that one. So again, this NHL frenzy was really good. I thought it was a good idea. Close us out on WNBA, how we get better, what is it? Recap this WNBA NHL to us, because when we finish that, we're diving right into Justin's Oval because we're going to skip mine this week, and there's a reason why. Justin, take us.
Listen. The NHL is, if you love hockey, which, by the way, Pedro, you might love the WNBA, but I know your nephew and his father love hockey, as they were at the Capitals meet and greet the other day and got to meet some of the stars. So shout out to the Van Landinghams. But the WNBA is that you're right. You got to strike with the irons hot. Here's the thing: you have to capitalize on the Angel Reeses and the Caitlin Clarks and some of your older stars that have been there. But you have to do it now and continue to gather the young fan. What the NHL does, it gathers the young fan and the adult fan at the same time. Listen, the WNBA. For someone that hardly watches the NBA anymore because it's just it's bad basketball.
Sure.
You have to appeal to me, and appealing to me isn't watching crap fouls and horrible basketball play. It's not highlighting Caitlin Clark in her first 3 games where she is getting obliterated. Caitlin Clark year 2 is going to be where I think they make their bread, because she's beginning to get the fever. She's playing great basketball. And you just need that other star. Listen, the WNBA is tough. It's not easy. It's like you have college softball. It comes on once a year. Everybody wants to watch it. But when it's done, nobody's watching women's pro softball. And it's not taking anything away from what they do. It's not the same. Listen, get over yourselves. It is what it is. You're doing what you can with what you got. I think it's great for them to get a new CBA. But the WNBA is really going to have to watch what the NHL does in the next few years, because the NHL has a massive TV deal with ESPN. Like you said, all the games were on ESPN Plus, except for the 3 that were televised. And that's amazing. That's great for fans that want to engage as we get into the streaming world where you've got Monday Night Football was on ESPN Plus and only ESPN Plus. One of the first times ever. Peacock, Amazon, all these NFL games, all the NBA you can stream now. The WNBA's got to be at the forefront of that for their program. And I think they're going to get there.
Got to do better at some point. They got to get better and got to do better at some point when we go to there. So Justin, take us into your Oval. The reason we're skipping mine, I teased this a little bit earlier. The Breeders' Cup is actually going to be next weekend. It's going to be November 2nd. The Breeders' Cup 2-day event. It's going to be actually the first and the second. The first is going to be on Friday, which is going to be the juvenile races. We're going to have a lot of Breeders' Cup races to cover when it comes to juveniles. Those 2-year-olds that are getting ready for that 3-year-old season when it comes into turf racing, sprints, and then there's 3-year-olds that are getting ready for the Derby. Saturday is going to be the World Championship of Horse Racing. Saturday is going to be your Breeders' Cup Day. That is going to be November 2nd. We are going to do a big Breeders' Cup preview next week. When we talk about those, I'll have the fields for you. I have my selections, probables about where jockeys are going to be riding, different things like that. Right now, we're not doing it because the fields aren't set. A lot of horses could choose 1 or 2 races, depending on which ones they want to run in. They're deciding between where to go. No fields, no post positions has been set. So we're going to save that preview for next week. So Justin, close us out with your oval. How is NASCAR? Starting with Malcolm in the middle star, Frankie Muniz is now a driver. This little guy has found himself into a truck somehow, and now he's driving.
Look, man, my man has been racing for the last couple years and really digging it. Like, you watched him in that movie where he was in a wheelchair and he got in the boxcar and he won the boxcar race. Well, apparently as an adult that transferred over. And he's a small guy, so he's kind of like Jeff Gordon, 5'3", can fit in anything. But he's actually been racing and doing well. And granted, people talk about, well, he's got money and all. Yeah, you still got to drive a vehicle. And he's doing the right things. He's doing it the right way. I'll give him all the credit. Been following this for a couple years now. Excited that he's going to be in a big-time NASCAR. Going to see him week in and week out in the Truck Series. I don't know that Richmond will have trucks next year, as their schedule's been chopped in half. They're only getting one big race. But if they do, I will definitely want to go see him. We grew up with him in Disney movies and Malcolm in the Middle, and just great to see somebody doing something different. Doing
what makes him happy.
Doing something he loves. Like,
stuff. Yeah, sure.
Like, I'm sorry. People are like, well, he's got money. I don't care. Like, if I hit the lottery and I want to go race cars, guess what? I'm going to go do it. I'm going to do whatever I want.
Cars. No, I've seen you drive, and
I'll probably go race boats or something like that.
You may win. You may win because you'll wreck every single person on that track.
Ain't nothing wrong with wrecking them. But great to see that. It is great to see that. But speaking of NASCAR itself, there are 3 races left this season. Joey Logano won last week, so he is in to the Final Four. He won at at Las Vegas. This week they are at Homestead, Miami, and we're getting down to it. You've got to get into position to win, because right now, as the standings sit, Joey Logano's in. There are 3 spots left, 2 races to get into the final race for not the final race, to be one of the final 4 that can win the championship. And right now you have a Ford, a Toyota, 2 Chevrolets, Christopher Bell in the Toyota, Kyle Larson and William Byron in the Chevrolets, both out of Hendrick Racing. Chase Elliott, they almost got 4 into the final 8, but had a penalty late that cost them their 4th vehicle in the final 8. But Chase Elliott is the other vehicle from Hendrick Motorsports. He is in 8th place right now, 53 points behind. I really hope he finds a way to get in. He is most likely going to be – I root for him. My dad rooted for Bill for years, but he's most likely going to be my new favorite driver when Kyle retires, because there's just really nobody else I can stand. Denny Hamlin is on the outside. One of the great things, I love talking trash. I cannot stand this fool. He is on the outside looking in 5th place right now. I hope that holds true. He's not a great racer at Las Vegas. That is the Busch track. Hopefully Kyle can get a win there. But at the end of the day, NASCAR is well on its way to crowning the championship in 3 weeks. They will finish up this season at Phoenix. And it's exciting because as we keep moving forward, just like in all the sports, players are getting old, drivers are getting older, and these younger drivers are moving in. And there's some young studs coming up. Be excited for them next season. There's a big schedule change, which hurts us here in Richmond, but they're expanding. They're doing the same thing that PGA Tour, the NHL, and WNBA are doing, trying to expand to get fans. This weekend in Miami will be a good race. And next week at Martinsville will be a good race. It's a tight track like Bristol, Richmond. And then, of course, they end at Phoenix, where it's still warm in November. It's just a long season for them. But right now,
excited to see the finals, though. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, it is. Well, the fact that Joey Logano got in on a win is he was struggling to make it the last few weeks. Sure. Just really, that's the thing I like about it. He can knock people out. Or not knock people out, make it harder for them to get in when they get behind. Like Chase Elliott's in 8th place right now, and really he has to win to get in because of how far he is back. So definitely go be a wild finish next weekend at Martinsville when they get ready for the Championship 4.
Absolutely. So that's the ovals from Justin. We're going to have mine next week when we talk about it. That's going to be our show for tonight, guys. It has been a long one, but we've also wanted to get you part 1, which is in this NCAA football. And then we talked a little bit about college sports and really the state of it and the shape of it, right? And then we did part 2, previewing the World Series with the New York Yankees going after their 28th World Series title, which I cannot wait to celebrate that and see if that happens. It's going to be an outstanding World Series to follow that. So again, we've got a lot of time. We had some whip around coverage, NHL, all of that. Is felt great to be back. Thank you all for listening to part 1 and part 2. If you tuned in, we really appreciate it. Again, I am Mike, Up and Running Pod. As always, be kind, be humble, always be grateful.
Yeah, Mike, great show tonight. Real quick, there's one last thing I want to touch on, because I do give this person as a player. I don't know him as a person, no matter his political statements, whatever. LeBron James, what I will say is this. I cannot imagine anything better than having my son as a professional athlete on the same field or court with me. And the fact that the Griffies recognized how important that was awesome. I don't want to talk about how I think the moment's, other than it's happiness for them, because the one thing I can say is when I look in my son's eyes, if I could be on the court with him or the ball field with him, even if it was just managing in a pro, in the big leagues, it would be awesome. And I just can't imagine they put the side by side of Bronny coming on the court, and then when LeBron was holding him, when he was 2 or 3 years old. I mean, it's just phenomenal for them guys. Happy for LeBron and Bronny. I think that's a special accomplishment for them too.
Yep.
Hats off. I mean, to even raise children that could be that great. A lot of respect to him for that.
Respect.
And Brueggemann, I can tell you now, that's the 30 seconds you're going to get from me talking about LeBron and anything other than a negative light, especially as a player. But guys, great show tonight. A lot of college football in part 1. Went over a lot of things. A lot of baseball. Mike's happy for the Yankees. I want the Dodgers to win because I can't stand all the Yankee talk. Let me tell you something. Catch us on X at Up and Running Pod, at Bama Turn 46, at M_squared 11. We'll see ya. Peace.